Hi guys, here's an update for Zoe having had her TMJ surgery. We're day 6 now, aren't we? Because it's Monday, and she had her surgery last Tuesday. So as promised, we're doing a little update for everyone, other than the couple of very short videos that we made over the last few days. Do you want to tell us? She's very tired now. She was a lot chirpier 3 hours ago. But we went to the shops and we went and got, cake and coffee, and we went to Big W and the newsagents and the supermarket because Zoe thought that she was, what?
I was fine when we were out.
She was fine. And then I had to pick up new glasses on the way home, and she's just like, I'll just wait in the car. But she's doing really, really super well. She got up and she got all dressed and did her hair and her makeup. And yeah, so that's just under a week out. So she's done really, really well. Do you want to tell them anything about your hospital stay that we haven't already gone over?
I don't know what was in the other videos.
It was just about the screws. We did one on the screws and we did one quick one in hospital. Basically, she was in hospital for 2 days, 2 nights, and that was really only because
3 days, 2 nights.
Yeah, I can't remember. In the Tuesday, out the Thursday. She had a little drainage bauble there, so they took that out on the day after the surgery, and they just wanted to monitor her. She had IV antibiotics right up until when we left, every 8 hours. Do you want to tell them what it was like when you had the drain removed? You freak.
I said that it felt nice. I didn't feel particularly nice. It's just that it didn't feel awful.
Yeah.
So the absence of it feeling, that was nice.
Yeah, and it was in a fair way, wasn't it? Probably like about that much drainage tube.
I didn't look.
Oh, I looked. There was about that much drainage tube. The nurse was surprised just how far it went in, because when they do drainage tubes, they quite often coil them around so that they can get more stuff sucked out. And you were a bit anxious before it came out because she'd never had a drain before.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was going to get stuck.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just in. I won't show you on her ear, but it was just in behind her ear. But it did feel better once it was out, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, I didn't really feel it when it was in there.
Yeah. So the food in hospital was a bit difficult, wasn't it?
But I'm tricky to begin with.
Yeah, Zoe's a little bit of a difficult one to feed because she's fructose intolerant, and whilst she's not lactose intolerant, her body doesn't always like too much lactose. So they had a fructose free diet and a lactose free diet, but not those combined with a mushy liquid diet. So, but they managed to find some food for you.
They put me on the minced and soft bites, I think it was called.
Minced and soft bites, which was basically she had very runny oats for breakfast, and then for dinner and lunch, mushy veggies with very finely minced meat, wasn't it? And she just mixed it all together. It was very, very bland, but it was okay.
It was alright.
And jelly, cups of tea, all that sort of stuff. So it wasn't too bad. Now, since you've come home, what have you been eating and drinking since you came home?
Really runny porridge. I've been doing half a sachet. I find it easier to have smaller meals more often, just because it's painstakingly slow to actually get the food into my mouth.
Yeah.
Because I not only can I not get my mouth open, I've also got limited, because of the bands. I can only get the spoon in so far.
Yeah, so she's been using a teaspoon.
And then sort of pushing the food in from there.
Yeah, pushing the food, literally pushing the food in, like with her fingers sometimes, just like pushing it in. With the oats, she's been having, you can get the little individual sachets of oats. I've been making her half of one of those, but with still the full amount of liquid. So we've been putting in it's like half of a sachet, like full sachet is 35 grams of oats. So I've been using 17 grams of oats with half a cup of oat milk. So they are very, very runny. And I made some
sweet potato all mashed
some
up.
very mashed sweet potato and some.
That's also really good for after surgery because it's really high in fibre.
Really high in fibre, absolutely. I also made some curried green pea soup. That's a nice thin soup, but still very high in protein and fibre because it's made of green peas. I'm making broccoli soup today, which I'll eat chunky, but I'll blend for Zoe. That's got lots of, broccoli, potato, corn, bacon. So it is a high protein soup as well with lots of fibre. What else have you been eating? I made you a smoothie yesterday, a nice fruit smoothie, but with half as much fruit as she would normally have. What else have you had? I think that's about it, isn't it? Tea, coffee, Milo.
I tried having
spaghetti.
I tried having some spaghetti, like cutting it up really fine. That it hurt a bit to eat, but it also like wrapped around the bands, and I found that to be like a huge problem.
Yeah.
Because it got all tangled up, and then it was.
Yeah.
You can't, like if you get like popcorn stuck in your teeth, you could run your tongue along it to try and get it out, but you don't really have that luxury.
Yeah, and the bands up there, they're absolutely tiny. Like Zoe had been saying to me that it was hard to open her mouth, and I popped down to the hospital because they were going to give us some spare bands, but they forgot. So I popped back into the hospital to get some bands, and they're they're this big. They're tiny, and to even stretch them to that big is really hard. So the fact that Zoe can even get her mouth open, I'm absolutely in awe of her. And she's got 2 bands on each side, like 2 bands together on the 2 screws together. So that's like even tougher, isn't it? Yeah. Just on the topic of those bands while we're talking about them, Zoe has been having trouble brushing her teeth.
Yeah. I think part of it to begin with was I was worried about like bumping the screws or bumping the bands loose, but it's also it's difficult to actually get the brush back there. So what I found is to go in from the back and then sort of twist it forward.
Yeah, and she's been using your normal toothbrush and a baby toothbrush.
Yeah, I'm just gonna use the baby one now. I do usually use like an electric toothbrush, which is fine. My teeth are really sensitive at the moment because I think they're realigning, but also because my teeth are hitting differently, so they're overly sensitive. But also the electric toothbrush on the back teeth, it bumps up against my teeth, just because it's such a small area.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to use the electric toothbrush till the screws come out.
Yeah, and you got a water squirter.
Yeah, I mean, that helps somewhat, but you could probably just gargle.
Yeah. So she just got this special thing that squirts water. It's for like pressure cleaning your teeth, I guess.
The problem with that at the moment is because my teeth are so sore.
So sore. Yeah.
They feel bruised.
Yeah. But I got her some Bonjela as well, which is, like the baby teething gel stuff.
That helps.
So she's been putting that on her cheeks
It's just hard to get in.
Yeah, just on her cheeks where the screws rub, and then I put some on this because you don't want to touch the screws, do? She's really weird about it. So I put some on the screws, like around the screws around her gum last night as well, and that's been helping, hasn't it? Yeah. On the topic of pain relief and medication, she's got 2 more doses of antibiotics to take. So it's 1 tonight and 1 tomorrow morning, and then her antibiotics are done. They sent her home from the hospital with 10 tablets of endone. They're always real tight asses when you come home from having surgery with the endone. So I made her an appointment with our GP the following day and got her some, because like that amount of endone so soon after surgery wouldn't have even lasted her like 2 nights. So we got her put onto some Tarjan, which it's just endone but slow release. And that's been working really good, hasn't it?
Yeah, I haven't taken, I think I had one.
You've had 1 endone.
I had 1 endone yesterday, and that was at night time because that was post pasta and then having to brush my teeth.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of pain. And also part of that was I get jaw spasms now. Usually I find it's after I've eaten, and it's just the muscles trying to readjust to the new alignment, but also because your nerves are all shot. Yeah.
So the endone tablets that she's got are only 5 milligram. The Tarjan is 10 milligram. Is it 10? 20. 20, because you take them only twice a day. So that's the equivalent of having 4 endone, and she can have, if she has breakthrough pain, up to another 4 endone on top of that, but she hasn't needed them. She's having Panadol every 6 hours, although you missed your 2 a.m. dose this morning.
I just wanted to sleep.
Yeah, and she just slept through. She slept for about 10 hours last night. And you've just had Panadol just now. So she's managing well on just Tarjan and Panadol now, and we'll probably cut down the Tarjan to only at night time in a couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was the only medication you were having. I got her some Solya gel, which is like a wound gel, and it's got an antimicrobial in it, so it kills bacteria, viruses, and fungal infections as well. And I've just been putting that like along her incision quite thickly, twice a day? Yeah. We've washed her hair twice. We just get her to hold like a towel against that, because it doesn't really matter if it gets wet, but we don't want shampoo and stuff getting into it.
Yep.
So that's been okay. And then we just gently pat it dry after the shower, and when it's completely dry, I put the Solya gel on it. And that's, I used the Solya gel on both my kids when they had chickenpox, when they were little, tiny little kids, and they didn't get any scars. So I was like, this is healing up so very nicely. Do you want to lean forward and show them how well it's looking? And have a really good, yeah, that's pretty good. Do you want to show me belly while you're at it?
Yeah.
We'd still got a dressing on it, but just to give you an idea of how big it is.
Because we thought it'd be a little...
Yeah, it's actually, it's much bigger than what we thought it was going to be.
I don't know how to get into...
Yeah. So the steri strips go from here to here. So that's how big it is. So, and we thought it was going to be about that big, didn't we?
Mm.
And that hasn't really given you any trouble, has it? Unless you move the wrong way or...
And even then, it's not so much that it's like hurting, it's just that it's sort of like enough for me to go, oh, there's an incision there, I have to be careful.
Yeah. And that, if you haven't seen the other videos, they took some fat and I think it said dermal, fat and fascia from her tummy to make a new disc to put into her jaw. So now she's got her tummy in her jaw. How have you been sleeping?
It's a bit difficult to get to sleep just because it's uncomfortable. The pain seems, it's a bit worse when it's when I'm lying down, just because it's putting pressure.
Yeah. You're getting a sore back now from sleeping on your back.
Yeah, I'm trying to sleep on my right side a bit, but it sort of shifts my jaw, so that hurts for prolonged periods of time as well. So it's a bit uncomfortable. I would heavily suggest for the first few nights to sleep a bit upright. Definitely,
just to keep it elevated.
Because you get like the worst swelling on like the second and third day, but when I woke up on that third day, it was I think part of that was the fact that I slept sort of a bit further down,
a little bit too far down. And this morning she was saying to me that she'd been reluctant to sleep on her left side because she's got quite a lot of numbness through there, and she was worried. You're worried that you were going to hurt it or like rip the stitches or something.
Get something in there.
Yeah, but I've told her it's stitched up so well, like with any surgery that you have. When I had my tummy tuck, I was sleeping on my side from the second night because nothing's going to rip open, nothing's going to break. So I've reassured Zoe it's fine for her to sleep on that side. So you maybe have a go at that tonight. Stitches, belly, screws. Oh, now the numbness. Do you want to show them where the numbness is?
So there's some patches are a bit like patchy where it sort of tapers off. Let me just, okay, so through here, I have, especially there, but through here it starts to feel a bit funny, and then here, it's weird because I can feel underneath the skin, I just can't feel on the surface. So it's, this is where I start to feel it again.
Yeah.
But back here, no.
Yeah, and then that could be temporary numbness or it might be permanent. It just depends, and that goes with any surgery.
I'm very lucky though that I don't seem to have any like nerve damage in like my actual
muscles.
face.
Yeah, because that was, if you watch the first video, that was a possibility that she was going to have some temporary or even permanent paralysis down the side of her face. But the surgeon said that her brow was a little tiny bit weak. We can't notice that. With Zoe I mean, I know she sounds a little bit
That's mostly the band.
Yeah, she said this isn't how she normally sounds. She sounds a little bit sort of lispy, I guess, but that's because of the bands. That's just because it's difficult to talk without opening your mouth properly and stuff.
And I think part of it is also just it is still a bit tight through here, so the muscles are still a bit. Ooh, that hurt a bit. Before the surgery, I had a twitchy eye on my left side. It doesn't twitch anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that was likely just like I was already getting nerve damage prior to the surgery from all the swelling and pressure in there. But I've noticed that when I was putting my makeup on, my eyelid feels a bit funny. So I might have like some like weird sensory.
Yeah, or it could just be sensory coming back from not twitching anymore.
Although I have like weird sensation through here.
Yeah.
So I think it could just be from when
because they would have peeled her face back here as well, just to be completely gross about it. And she's got these two little marks in here, so we think they've pulled her face back and attached it in the side of her nose, and we think that's why they had the staple there. We won't know until we go to the clinic and ask them. But I also noticed with Zoe, just through here, the first couple of days when she was talking, it seemed a little tiny bit droopy. No one else would have noticed it. But, you know, because she's my daughter, I noticed it a little bit, but it's not like that anymore. But, you know, having said that, I only talk out of half of my mouth anyway, so I look like I've had a stroke half the time. So no one else would have noticed it. It just would have looked like that's how she talks.
Prior to the surgery, though, I noticed that whenever I would brush my teeth, the inside of my lips were numb, especially on this side. It was a bit on the other side, but mostly on this side, the inside was numb.
But you wish it still was.
It's a little bit like the sensory is still a bit off in there, but not like how it was. So I think it might have even just been.
Now you spoke about the spasms before, didn't you? You getting those spasms?
It's like when your teeth chatter.
Yeah. So she's been having some magnesium, because magnesium helps to relax your muscles, and that helps a little bit, doesn't it? And she's also been using these heat packs. She's been getting them from, how much were these, $8?
They're on sale though for $8.
On sale for $8, and there's 5 in there. But one of those little heat packs lasts for 12 hours, like fully 12 hours, and they are still like roasting hot.
And we've just been putting them in my face bra.
Yeah, she's been putting them in her face bra. But you've got to be really careful, particularly as she's numb in certain areas. She always makes sure when she puts it on her face that she's got it on an area that she can completely feel it, so she doesn't burn herself.
And I don't sleep with them on overnight for that reason, because they do heat up with the more contact they have.
Now, if you're a person who's going to be having this surgery in hospital, if they give you a face bra and they give you anything like these little beauties, they're little ice packs, tiny little ones, like only, you know, as big as your finger. And you can like cut them, there's 2 in there. What we should have been doing every time they gave these to her, because they wouldn't be reusing them for other patients, they would have been throwing them in the bin. We should have been keeping them, because you can refreeze them, and you cannot, or I haven't been able to find any little ice packs this small in any shops at all. I just can't find them. But when we left the hospital, she had some in her face bra already, and we asked for some fresh ones for the ride home. So we ended up with 2, 4, 6, about 8 of them, which is enough for her to have 2 in each side while we freeze the other ones. And because they're so small, they freeze really, really fast. But if you're in hospital and they're giving these out, take them home. If they're going to be throwing them out after they've been used anyway, take them home, refreeze them, and then you can keep using them when you're at home. I wish I had thought of that.
Especially because I went through quite a few of them in hospital, because like my face was so heated. My cheeks were really, really rosy.
Oh, you would have gone through dozens of them. Absolutely dozens of them. But I think that's all the news we've got for them so far.
I think so.
If we've forgotten anything, we'll update it when we make the next video. We're going back to the hospital for a follow-up appointment with the surgeon in a few days. So after we've been to that appointment and found out, did they staple her face to her nose, and did they staple... why did they put a staple in the back of her head?
We'll also find out how they take the screws out.
Yeah, and we'll find out how they take the screws out, whether it's a local anaesthetic or another very short general anaesthetic to do that. And you'll get your stitches out too. Yeah. Looks like they've just done a running stitch from from the top down to the top of her ear, because there's only like tails at either end. So I think they call it either a running stitch or a blanket stitch or something, I can't remember. But they'll just snip both ends or one end, and they just pull it through. And there's, I think, probably 2 or 3 snips here, but she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, head back, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about a dozen stitches through there, which is a lot for a small area. I mean, I've had surgeries where I've been cut like that and only had 12 stitches, but because it's like right next to her face, they do a much nicer, much neater job. So yeah, until we go back to the clinic, we'll update you then. And that's it for now. If you've got any more questions about it, just drop them down in the comments, and we can answer them next time we make a video. Okay, bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.